I've got a special guest joining us. I've got Rhys, who's a property developer. How are you doing, Rhys?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. So you're quite big on Instagram at the moment, on YouTube, and you've been obviously going into property development.
hmm
How did you get into this?
Um, Pretty much just YouTube videos.
Yeah,
Like people are actually they're surprised and taken aback when I literally tell them it's just YouTube. Like I didn't necessarily do any special kinds of courses. I didn't necessarily go out of my way to try and enter property because we're in like the information age and pretty much anything you want to do is already online. So it was just a matter of me taking the active interest to research and everything. And most of the things that I learned and used to get the first house that I did buy, I just got from YouTube. So it was just having an active interest and wanting to learn and then finding the right information on YouTube and applying it.
wow. So I understand what you mean, but then I feel like a lot of people probably wouldn't think that they would be able to achieve something like that. You know, something as big as having that idea and
Yeah.
actually turning it into action. I
hmm
think is probably a real big thing. What made you actually decide to, take it seriously and actually take it from an idea into reality?
Because I just one day I just thought like constantly doing research and topping up my knowledge isn't necessarily gonna further my cause. It's the action that separates people that want to do something from the people that actually do something. So I thought, you know what, I can sit here and try to learn as much as I want to, or I can take what I already know and decide to do something with it. Because at the end of the day, it's the action that's gonna get things done, not knowing a million and one things.
Yeah, some really good knowledge right there. So when it comes to property,
Mm-hmm.
what is it exactly that what are the roles within it? Would you say, like, for example, um obviously a lot of your videos are like construction and like
Yeah.
renovating. Is that quite challenging? Is that
Yeah, so the videos that you probably have seen, they were of the refurbishment as it was happening. And I would say the most difficult part for any new person that's stepping into property development is the management of builders, because builders can be extremely tricky to navigate, especially when you are new to something. They can try to take advantage of the fact that you may be inexperienced or ignorant to certain things. So it was just about managing the builders, making sure that they weren't trying to take advantage or they weren't doing a half-hearted job, because you wouldn't really know what the difference is between a good job and a bad job when you're first starting out. So it's a matter of trying to stay on top of things and essentially building a good relationship with the builders to the point where they wouldn't try to take advantage. That was what I found most difficult anyway, managing builders.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I've heard that before as well from like people into property, like obviously like managing people, I guess in any field, but
Yeah,
especially when you're trying to build a house and making sure that people are not trying to cut corners.
exactly.
Yeah, that's really good. So you mentioned that you've refurbished one property already. So are
Mhm.
you kind of on your second property at the moment? What are you currently?
Yeah, so that property that I just mentioned that I refurbed, I've now sold it and
Oh,
it's
wow.
going through the process of the sale. Once it's fully sold, I'm looking to buy probably another two this year, and do the same thing. Hopefully, I do want to try and keep one of them so that I can start to build a portfolio as well, rather than just buy and selling, and have like a passive kind of income flowing from property.
Yeah. So what would you say? Does it take quite a while, a long time, in order to have the house? Like, for example, when you had your first property,
Mhm.
was it kind of a long step to get it to the place where it is now, where it's in a position to sell?
Yeah. I would say property is probably one of the slowest industries in the world, because if you just look at acquiring a house in itself, you're probably looking at least 2 months, 2 months plus. Then if you're going to do any refurb work to it, that's like another 2, 3 months at least. And then if you're looking to sell it again, another 2 to 3 months. So it is very slow, but it's an industry that rewards patience. And I think that's why I took to it, because if you look at the majority of the wealthiest people in the world, one of the things that they run to park their wealth in is real estate. And my whole mindset was, if I can get in and crack it early, then by the time I'm that age, I should be well off.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's a really good thought process,
Mm.
really. So you mentioned a little bit about some of the how it could be difficult to kind of manage staff, and I spoke a little bit about that. Were there any other kind of challenges that you've faced along the way, um, in terms of like property, like maybe people being like prejudiced towards like your age or even race or anything like that?
I wouldn't, other than contractors, I wouldn't necessarily say I've experienced any form of kind of like discrimination
Yeah,
or because of, let's say, age or race, for example. But other challenges in general with the house that I adjusted, I would say sticking to a budget. That was another very, very difficult task, because when you do buy a house with the intention of selling it anyway, you're gonna crunch numbers and you're gonna essentially buy the house based on those numbers. And one of the key categories would be the refurbishment costs. And with the refurbishment costs, you would basically have estimated how much you want to spend to get the house to a good standard in order to resell it on. And especially when you're inexperienced anyway, it's very, very difficult to accurately gauge what the refurb cost will be. So with my one, I think I had it in mind that I wanted to spend around 25 to 30,000 on the refurb cost. It ended up coming in at about just under 40,000. So you can imagine that's a very wide difference. So that was another difficult thing for me. Luckily, it still worked in the end, but yeah,
yeah,
that was difficult trying to stick to the budget.
yeah. No, I've seen that. You know, like on programs like Homes Under the Hammer and things like that, where
Yeah.
they kind of like refurbish their property and then they always like have the bit where they like, did they manage to stay on budget or not? And I guess it's like it's hard, isn't it? Because sometimes, obviously, the price you might have looked at something, and
Mhm.
you might have paid one price for it, and then you might have not estimated that you have enough of something. You might need to go back,
Yeah,
and it might have changed, or suppliers. But no, that's really really interesting. How do you
yeah.
find? What do you think? I've spoken about like the challenges,
Mhm.
but what do you think of like what are the positives of working in this industry and being like a property developer? Would you say?
Positives, I would say one of them for me is being able to work on my own schedule. So because I'm essentially working for myself, it's down to me to get things done. So it's kind of like it's a thing of you get out what you put in. So the amount of effort that you put in, you get out in results. So that's a positive for me. Another one is doing what I enjoy. Part of the reason why I entered this is because I genuinely have a keen interest in property and I enjoy doing it. So it isn't hard for me to say get motivated to do things. Like I just want to get up and get it done. That's the second one. A third one is because I am stepping into a new industry, there is a lot of stuff that I need to learn. And because of that, it's essentially forced me to go back to the foundations of learning how to learn properly. Like going through school and stuff, I feel like a lot of people would probably feel the same way. Like we kind of feel like we're forced to learn something, like let's say maths or science or whatever. So you're never really actually interested in learning it. But with this, because there is so much that I need to learn, I've had to actually take a step back to look at the foundations of learning how to learn properly. And that's essentially helped me in just self-development, I would say, and actually expanding my knowledge base. So that's another advantage. And lastly, I would say it's allowed me to meet and interact with a lot of people that have done incredible things. Because, like I said, real estate is an industry where a lot of wealthy people have made their money. inevitably you're gonna run into and meet a lot of people that have done so many things that you can learn from. So those are the things that I would say I've benefited from being in this industry.
Oh yeah, no, it sounds really good. Do you think this would you say this kind of industry and the position that you're in kind of empowers you in a way?
Um, I would say so. I would say so because even in terms of content creation, for example, like if you had asked me or even told me a year ago that I would be posting how I post, I probably would have laughed because I'd never would have imagined that I would be posting consistently on social media. Like I've always been kind of shy from it. Um, so I would say it's empowered me in that sense and just reaching out more to people and being more in like the public eye. It's allowed me to become more comfortable with it. So in that sense, I would say yes, definitely empowered me.
Well, no, it's really great to hear, man. Would you so we've spoken about a property quite a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about music a little bit. So
Yeah.
we play quite a lot of music here at High Radio. We play
Okay.
R&B, Afro beats, rap, just a lot of different genres really. And obviously I'm a piano. What are you listening to at the moment?
It's all over the place. It's
Is it
actually all
over?
over the place. It's like you said, R&B, Afro beats.
Yeah,
I've been listening to quite a bit of in terms of Afro beats, Rema, he's been popping off quite a bit. I've been
yeah.
taking him in a lot. In terms of R&B, what have I been listening to recently? I haven't taken in a lot of new music. It's more old stuff. So for R&B, it's like the Jenny Aiko, Summer Walkers, Bryson, Miguel, etc.
The OGs.
Hey,
The
UK,
OGs of the new school.
yeah. UK rap is another one I've been listening to quite a bit. So Nines, he dropped an album recently. I've been playing that quite a bit. Pot of Paper as well. Outside of that, I listen to quite a bit of Blade Brown. Who else from the UK do I listen to a lot? Young's Teflon, quite a bit. I feel like he's very underrated. And then hip hop in general. Some of my favorite artists are J. Cole, he's up there. Kendrick, I listen to a little bit. Drake, I feel like he's in everyone's top 3 or 5 list. Yeah, it's music everywhere. I
Yeah,
listen
yeah.
to music.
You definitely can't escape Drake, can you? Like,
You
he's
cannot.
all right. Reese, before you go, do you want to just tell us your next steps and what you're up to in the future?
Yeah, so the immediate future in terms of content creation is essentially I'm going to be documenting my process to finding the next property that I'm going to refurbish and sell. It's kind of like a segment that I'm doing on TikTok. Outside of that, I would say I'm looking to adopt a strategy in property that's higher cash flowing. So I'm going to talk a bit about that on social media, and then on YouTube, it's pretty much just about continuing to post what I am doing and documenting the journey.
Wow. So you're really going to be spreading those gems for everyone and helping
Yeah,
everyone else to get into that. No,
exactly.
great.
Just show what I am doing so that people can learn from it and take what they can from it as well. And if it inspires people to take action, then that's the main thing.
No. All right. Reese, before you go, do you want to just tell us your next steps and what you're up to in the future?
Yeah, so the immediate future in terms of content creation is essentially I'm going to be documenting my process to finding the next property that I'm going to refurbish and sell. It's kind of like a segment that I'm doing on TikTok. Outside of that, I would say I'm looking to adopt a strategy in property that's higher cash flowing. So I'm going to talk a bit about that on social media, and then on YouTube, it's pretty much just about continuing to post what I am doing and documenting the journey.
Wow. So you're really going to be spreading those gems for everyone and helping
Yeah,
everyone else to get into that. No,
exactly.
great.
Just show what I am doing so that people can learn from it and take what they can from it as well. And if it inspires people to take action, then that's the main thing.
No. Right. Thanks for coming on the show today, Reese.
You're welcome.
Do you want to tell everyone your socials and how they can get in touch with you?
Yes, so on Instagram it is RJ underscore hustle with 2 S's. On TikTok, it's RJ underscore hustle. YouTube is RJ space hustle. And then Snapchat, it is RJ dot hustle.